Well, as you know, the new Alan Wake has two sides of the story. The first side of the story is an FBI agent named Saga Anderson who, along with his colleague Chasey, goes to the Bright Falls to investigate a murder case. This case is strange and mysterious from the beginning, and especially the opening sequences of the game before we even get to know Saga and JC surprised us. But the situation gradually gets weirder, and for the first time it is the basement of the local police department that the first shock game hits us like the hard punch in the face. From here on, the whole story enters a meandering labyrinth whose narrative power goes shoulder to shoulder with the first-rate crimes work like the first season of the True Detective or Twin Peaks. And just like them, not even a moment allows our brain to reach peace and stillness. But on the second side of the story, we also have our familiar Alan Wake, a doomed writer whose nightmares ended haven't ended since that ill-advised trip to Bright Falls to find peace. This time, he's trapped in a world known as Dark Place. In this really mysterious world, a creature of darkness named Scratch does not give up on Alan's head. This Scratch, of course, the word of enemy in Alan Wake 2 does not mean people who are in games such as Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed. In this game, Alan actually fights with nightmares or darkness, something like darkness. Just consider other enemies in the game such as God of War or Tomb Raider. They are different from these black people who exist in Alan Wake 2. Because after they are relieved and comes out of black state, their face and appearance are completely similar to normal people that we may see every day on the street or public roads. They have a responsible appearance. I mean, they don't have a zombie-like shape or a strange and horrible face. This has only one meaning. Perhaps the characters of Alan Wake's story have become nightmares in this way. The characters who have been captured in Alan's story and are now looking to revenge against Alan and relived against his. Very good, very good. The atmosphere of this game is very, very, very very good. In Alan Wake 2, the focus is more on fear than horror. Maybe you may think that these two can have the same meaning. No. Horror can be finished, but fear is not. Horror is a moment, but fear is always with you. Horror can be tolerated, but fear eats the mind and body like a leprosy. In Alan Wake 2, the director's focus is more on fear than horror. Unlike some Hollywood movies, there is no momentary and scary horrors. In this game, fear is always with gamer. It's as if we are playing inside fear. A world has been created in fear and we are playing inside it. We live in fear. As the director of Alan Wake 2 said before, we want to make gamers feel scared, and all the visual and auditory effects such as sound and atmosphere should play the biggest role in realizing this goal. The director wanted to give priority to the atmosphere over the immediately horrors, which I think has succeeded. To create the psychological fear and atmosphere element of this game, many inspiration are taken from the terrifying but popular Silent Hill franchise. It is interesting to know that the developers of Alan Wake 2 have already announced this game, also inspired by the Resident Evil series. Let me tell you that the atmosphere and the scenes of Silent Hill increase over time and slowly. Over time, the game brings the constant scenes of suffocation and constant mental pressure to the audience and gamer. And it as if an unknown creature that is not even visible always walks behind the character of the game and even behind the creature, behind the audience, behind the audience and gamer. And it's hot and stinking breeze can be felt with all filled existence. In Alan's part, Remedy brings the border between illusion and reality to the thickness of a hair, and because of this, many times we can't even believe what we see. The lamp with which Alan plays with light is a symbol of a moving to the same border between fantasy and reality. And the enemies that can be fought in the same family tales of the series, a symbol of a facing the darkness that has penetrated in this world. Instability and the sense of paranoia are all elements of psychological fear that stem from the gameplay mechanics of this game. The difference that has been become more obvious compared to Alan Wake 1, the enemies stay in a scene more and are harder to kill. Compared to Alan Wake 1, both the number of enemy during the game has increased and it has become difficult to kill them. That's why they are stayed longer in a scene, which has made the creator put more emphasis on the quality of animations. The shooting system of Alan Wake 2 is at the very gold level. Shooting may be a little weaker compared to the Resident Evil 4 remake, but compared to the most third-person shooter on the market, it performs better. The good artificial intelligence of the enemies has made the fight to increase the overall excitement of the game. But the thing that makes the shooter part even more interesting is the skin system of the enemies in Alan Wake 2. As you know, in this year, we saw the use of the gore system in the, if I'm not mistaken, the Dead Space remake, and flesh system in the Dead Island 2 game, which contribute to the excitement of the battle. Alan Wake 2 also used the similar system, and wherever you shoot enemies, their skin tissue is damaged. Thanks to the addition of this system, and of course the fact that the weak point of some enemy are marked with red color, the excitement of the fight has doubled, and you can use this point as a weak point and save the number of bullets. Campaign saga borrows from titles such as Alan Wake 1, Resident Evil 4, and Sherlock Holmes series of game. In Saga campaign, the enemies are the same enemy you meet in Alan Wake 1. Of course, wolves have been added to the game as a new enemy. But in general, the method of the fighting enemy is the same as the first part. First, you have to shine light on them and then destroy them. The strength point of the Alan Wake 2, in my opinion, a complex and multi-layered story, wonderful atmosphere, the surreal and scary atmosphere of a dark place, two different campaigns that are both attractive. The addition of Mind Place made Alan Wake 2 a detective game along with all its features. The best graphics so far in the 9th generation of consoles. Maybe great game related music and sound design. And the weak point is the weak point of this game is very no. The weak point of this game is
Parliament Tower, where I'd lived